Hi my angels, it's Hailey Reese and I hope that you guys are having an absolutely fantastic morning, afternoon, night, whatever it is for you. When today's video finally reaches you, you guys, I have been so excited to film this video for so long because it's been something that I've really been thinking about, especially over the past couple of years. And that is how creepy and terrifying some children's shows are, including some that I've watched and some that you may have seen, but also some that we've never seen, but it's wild to think that children have. For those of you who might be new to my channel, or maybe you just haven't watched back on some of my older videos, between the time of my lung collapsing and starting this YouTube channel, I nannied and babysat for money. And I watched some very interesting shows with some of the children that I babysat or the child that I nannied, and it really got me thinking, what are some of the shows that I watched as a kid that were just super creepy? And so many came to mind for me, including one in particular we're gonna talk about today that just traumatized me. And for so long I've been thinking it would be so cool to have a series on here talking about children's shows or even expanding into movies that when you look at them as an adult, or maybe even when you were a child, are just embodying all that are nightmares. So that's what we're going to be diving into today. Now, if you guys really enjoyed today's video, make sure you let me know in the comments below that you guys would like a part 2. If there's any show that I didn't mention yet that really invoked nightmares for you or was just super creepy to you, comment that down below as well. And without further ado, let's just get right on into this, you guys, because some of these are creepy. I was actually talking with my grams and my uncle prior to filming this video on TV shows from when I was a child that really creeped them out. And I know that my uncle really didn't like Teletubbies, and Grams really didn't like Caillou, not because Caillou scared her, but because she thought he was a whiny brat. Grams' words, not mine. But it was really cool to kind of bounce back and forth with them on some shows that were really unsettling. And one show in particular that I'm going to start with that I wasn't sure I was going to include until my uncle said that my cousin loved it and it freaked him out is Pingu. Now, Pingu is a British-Swiss children's show that actually first aired in 1986. I think it's meant to be a cute show following penguins who don't speak anything other than like penguin language, which is basically gibberish to us. But to me, this always unsettled me, and quite honestly, I never wanted to watch it, although I've learned now my cousin did. I think it was the fact that they just waddled around and spoke this language I couldn't understand while doing various tasks, but I remember one particular episode where Pingu has a nightmare, and in essence, Pingu the penguin has this nightmare that this walrus is going to eat him. And what's so unsettling about this show to me is the fact that because these penguins don't speak any sort of language that a child can understand, because heck, even as an adult I can't understand it, you're left to interpret all of the actions and gestures and emotions of Pingu. And this walrus, you guys, is so creepy in his body language and the way that he's acting. I just really wouldn't necessarily want my kid watching this. I feel like it would be kind of traumatic for my child, or a child, I don't have children, but a child, to watch this and number one, not be able to understand it, and trying to understand it through body language, which could be a good developmental feature for a child, I'm not sure, but just, guys, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. And while I wasn't going to include it, after my uncle said that it didn't sit well with him either, I wanted to include it anyways. But moving on from Pingu and those penguins that speak Penguish, I think is what they called it, I'm not entirely sure, we get into something a lot creepier, and that is Peppermint Park. Peppermint Park is an American children's show that released in 1987, so a year after Pingu. And you guys, well, I never actually watched this while it aired, or I never had a copy of it, after diving into creepy children's shows, I really truly think this one is very close to taking the cake because it is so uncomfortable, so unsettling, and truly reminds me of a scary movie. This show has these really terrifying puppets that are supposed to be helping kids learn numbers and letters and things of that nature. And one episode that I watched, you guys, not only featured these creepy puppets, one of which I think actually looks like it's out of a horror film, but it also had this really creepy marionette scene that unsettled me. The puppets in this show and the way that it zooms in on this like shed that just, I think it's supposed to be the clubhouse, but it just looks like something out of a horror film, especially with all these like puppets and marionettes in it, which by the way, the puppets have like these creepy puppet heads, but they have real human hands, and it's a very uncomfortable thing to watch. The whole entire thing just reminds me and reminded me of a horror movie. I don't know which one it was, whether it was Saw or what horror film it was, but these creepy puppets just remind me of it, and I just would never let my child, if I did have one, watch this. So while I never saw it as a kid, I can't even fathom the fact this actually is or was a kid's show. Like, what? Moving on, we are moving into a TV show that really triggers me, you guys. I do not like this character at all. I never have, I never will. I told my friend today, I hate this bee. I do not like this character. And that moves into Angela Anaconda. My name is Angela, hey, hello. So Angela Anaconda is a Canadian kids show that ran for 3 seasons from 1999 to 2001 for a total of 65 episodes. It's basically about this 8-year-old girl named Angela who lives in a fictional town of Tapwater Springs, and she has this other girl named Nanette who's her sworn enemy, and Angela and her friends just really don't like her. But honestly, I don't like any of the show at all. I know this might be rude to say, and I truly mean no offense to any of the creators of the show or anybody who was involved in the animation of it, but something about these children in the show has always made me think of dead children, which is horrible, like ghost children. When you look at how vibrant their clothes are and how gray their skin is and how exorcist-like their movements are, it's so unsettling, you guys. Like, the animation of the show is, in my personal opinion, poorly done in the sense that their limbs and their necks and their bodies move in ways that regular children don't. And when you combine that with the color of their skin, it's something that I would see in a nightmare and seriously run from. And on top of that, I never particularly liked her voice either. The intro triggers me, and I'm so sorry to say that, but I'm being honest here. I never liked this show, and it freaks me out. And on the contrary, Tyler says that when he was a kid, he remembers seeing Angela Anaconda late at night, and he never particularly liked it either. It kind of gave him the heebie-jeebies too. So very, very peculiar show, and never really felt like a kid's show to me. Just felt really unsettling. And I apologize to those who really enjoy the show, because I know that there were people who really enjoyed Angela Anaconda and thought the animation was creative and cool. But for me personally, it is kind of terrifying, and I never enjoyed it. And then we move into a show that is far more recent, and that's called Dirt Girl World. Dirt Girl World is an Australian-Canadian children's television series that first aired in 2009, so I would have been around 13. It follows Dirt Girl, who grows her own tomatoes, drives a big orange tractor, and has lots of backyard friends. Now, to be entirely honest with you guys, while the show actually could be quite cute, what makes it so scary and nightmare-invoking is the fact that they put real human eyes and smiles on animated characters. Like, there's characters in the show that are bugs, and for me, just seeing them with those real faces doesn't sit well. There's actually a ton of people who really quite enjoy the show, and while I watched an episode of the show, I thought that it reminded me of a show that I would have watched as a kid, except for the fact that I would have never liked the fact that they used real eyes and smiles on the characters. I think it takes away from the show. I think it makes it very creepy. And actually there were a couple of reviews that said that they won't even let their kids watch it because there's something very weird about the animation of the show and that it gave their kids nightmares. Oh, also while I'm reminded of it, there was a forum, I can't remember where, but I did see it. I'm sure if you Google it, you could find it, that basically said that Angela Anaconda, sorry to go back to her, but I just thought of this, caused a divorce in a family. So she is evil. But moving on. Either way, you guys, I think animation has a lot to do with some of this besides the Peppermint Park, which out of all of them, Angela Anaconda and Peppermint Park really leave me feeling like, ugh, I would not want my kids to watch those shows. Pingu, I could deal with if I had to. I just don't particularly like it. It's kind of creepy to me. And Dirt Girl World, I just don't like the animation of it. I think it's a little bit unsettling, but the show itself seems cute. Either way, you guys, these are just a couple of the children's shows that I feel could give you nightmares if you really watch them or really dive into it. And I know that there are so many more, trust me. I have a whole list of other ones I'll dive into if you guys would like me to. So make sure you guys comment down below, number one, which one of these was the most unsettling to you? Did you actually watch any of these growing up? What did you think of what I showed you of them? What's your personal opinion? And beyond that, sorry for so many questions, what was a show that you watched growing up or maybe your kids are watching now that just doesn't sit well with you? Comment down below and let me know if you guys would like to see a part 2. With that being said, you guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I also want to very quickly say a quick disclaimer that I mean no disrespect to any creators or animators of said shows. It's just for me personally, it didn't resonate, it missed the mark, and it kind of made me feel a little like, oof, I don't like that. And I just didn't particularly resonate with these shows, but I'm very curious to hear your guys' opinions, and I respect the art of everything created, even if it just freaks me out instead of brings me joy. With that being said, if you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my videos, I would really, really love it and appreciate it if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button, and please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, I love you.